Media is now streaming live. All right. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the, Ricky, you say it.
International live stream of mystery. And I'll be danged, we've got a special guest today in the flesh.
So Kurstin is here in person today because we'll be recording more podcasts, more international Geek of Mystery show. And as Kurstin and Ricky share one brain cell, Kurstin and I today are sharing one microphone. Say hello, Kurstin.
Hello, Kurstin.
There you go. And say hi, RiKitty.
Hi, RiKitty.
So your name actually says Ricky Denning. It does not.
Oh no!
RiKitty.
How could I have let that slip?
Yeah, I'm going to change mine right here, right now. So you can change yours. There we go. And let me see if I can change yours.
Billy Bear. I already changed it.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. So now that we have all that housekeeping out of the way, Kurstin is here to record. The way we do this is we record a bunch of these episodes at a time. Over there is another room where we have all the equipment set up to do that. And at some point in the future, we're thinking about actually, if we get enough patrons, perhaps, actually setting up a real studio and perhaps even a podcast production service of some sort to make it easier for other people to do what we do. Because there's a lot of voices out there in the world that I think deserve to be heard. And
speaking of voices that need to be heard, we already have 3 comments on LinkedIn.
Oh my gods. See, I've been watching Battlestar Galactica, so I'm going to be saying, oh my gods. Rewatching it, I watched it all years ago, and anyway, go ahead. Have at it.
Okay, so we have 3 comments from, and please let me know if I pronounce this correctly, because I get it. I have a long name myself. I shorten it, so I'm going to give it my best shot. These comments are from Amir Raza Madni Malik. And his first comment is, hi, sir. Second comment, big fan, sir. Third comment, I finished your lectures and it was amazing. Thank you, Amir.
Thank you. Definitely. Thank you, Amir. I always love to hear that. I don't know which courses you took, but I'm always grateful to hear from my students and to hear that I've had some positive impact. That's really wonderful. I am working on new content. There's a new set of a new SQL course coming, and this one will go up on my YouTube and not on LinkedIn. But you obviously will still have access to it. And that should be up, I would guess, sometime next week. I don't know. They're working on the transcription now, and that's just going to take however long it takes, so that we can have proper subtitles on YouTube. And after that, I know I want to do a new Python course because they've delisted my Python course on LinkedIn. But I think before that, I'm going to do a little introduction to programming, just general how to be a programmer, how to write code kind of a thing.
I would take that course in a heartbeat.
Oh, there you go. I think that course is going to be very, very popular. And I would really love to share my knowledge in that area. And yeah, so that's coming soon. And in the meantime, here we are, and we don't really have necessarily a topic for today. We were having a little conversation about Disney adults while we were sitting here and preparing. And I know quite a few of these people. These are people who live on, either in Southern California or in Northern Florida, and just spend every non-working waking moment at the Disney parks. They have their annual passes, and they've got, if you go into the parks, you see them, they got all the buttons on their suspenders, and they have Disney everything. And I just know I know a few of these people, And I mean, they're otherwise normal people, but when you get around Disney stuff, they just go absolutely bananas.
Oh
And
yeah.
my wife would be one of these people if she lived close enough and it were possible for her to do that. And if she didn't have 4 kids to take care of all the time.
Yeah. You know, the crazy thing about Disney adults is a majority of them do live within like 100-mile radius of the park.
Sure.
But a lot of them plan huge, elaborate trips for like several times out of the year to spend thousands of dollars to go across the country to Florida, or across the country to Disneyland, or to Disneyland Paris, or Disneyland Japan, and huge elaborate trips. And pretty much a lot of their lives revolve around not just Disney themed merch and Disney themed movies and Disney in general, but around specifically the parks. That's why a lot of park bloggers get a lot of
I
attention.
detect a little bit of condescension in your
No way, no way. I have loved ones that are, I used to be an annual pass holder myself like 4 years ago, and I would go often. But yeah, I mean, it's just I think something that a lot of people forget when they idolize these corporations is that Disney is like Walt Disney Incorporated. They're a conglomerate. They don't care about you outside of your user experience and making sure they maximize their profits on getting you hooked and making you come back. I mean, there's a science to that stuff.
So I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Disney Corporation is actually run by a mouse, a cartoon mouse.
Well, you know how cartoon kitties feel about cartoon
Mouse has a little voice like this, and I don't think he could have a harmful thought if he wanted to.
Yeah, of course he can't, because his head's frozen in a block of ice in the basement of the corporation's main building.
Oh my God. So go ahead.
I was gonna say, when I was in college, either people coming into college or as soon as they left college were big, like there's something called the Disney program, and
DCP.
so I grew up doing dance. It's like the Disney college program, and so you can go and work for Disney and like be in their parades and stuff like that. Even one of my close friends at the time, when she came to A&M, gig 'em, she used to be Ariel. And she was telling me about her experience as Ariel. And it was just like so wild, because she said her first day out, she said a couple of little girls came up to her and she said something like, "Oh, are y'all having a good time? Like, are y'all enjoying the park?" And they like ripped her off to the side and they were like, "You can't say y'all. Ariel doesn't say y'all."
Oh my gosh.
And they say y'all. You can't say that. Like, you're ruining it. Like, I don't think it was that intense, but that's how I remember it. And so I see all sides of it. But yeah, I think it's a very intense experience.
It definitely is intense. I dated Tigger for 3 years. I'm not lying. I dated Tigger for like 3 years.
T-I-double-G-er.
Yes. He was also Goofy, but he was not allowed to say that.
Made of the bouncy.
He wasn't allowed to say that. If you work there as a character, you have to say it as, "I'm friends with Goofy. I'm friends with Tigger." You can't just out and say, "Oh, I'm Tigger. I work as Tigger in Disneyland." You have to say, "I'm friends with Tigger." Well, you're supposed to.
I am obviously wearing the wrong hat. I should be wearing my Pooh hat.
Oh,
That's a missed opportunity.
I didn't think you'd get like this into it, you know?
So this is what I know, because I grew up in Southern California, and I mean, honestly, I knew a lot of these people. I knew a lot of the cast members, is what they're called. My band actually played at the Tomorrowland Theater, and I've been down in the tunnels. I as a teenager, I was arrested for being a part of a group that took over Tom Sawyer Island and raised the Vietnamese flag. This is the 60s kids. And so I know something about this stuff. The cast members are very tightly controlled, and it's not a bad thing. It is what provides the fantasy for the customers. I knew somebody who was one of the princesses, I forget which one, but she had to learn how to do the wave. And you can't, it's not like this. This is the royal wave, but rather it's like this. It's like and she said they teach you, it's like you're cleaning a window. And that's the wave. And if you watch the princesses on the floats, they're all cleaning the window. And it's very uniform. It's very high production value. You go through the park, everything is all the details. You look close at things and you see little engravings, and it's like absolutely amazing. It's all part of the fantasy, and that's their product. At least at the parks, that's their product. It's the fantasy, and I respect them. I understand that, that there are issues with any large corporation, the uniform way in which they, and lowest common denominator way in which they treat their employees. And post-pandemic, it's been absolutely hell for Disney employees. And I get that, but I have a lot of respect for the way that they do what they do, and the dedication that they have to providing the environment that they provide. Also, I have a friend who her daughter went through college and became an engineer and got a job as an Imagineer at Disney Florida, where she gets to create animatronics and all these crazy things. And she just lets, her job is just let her imagination go wild. I have a friend in LA who
in the name.
animator for Disney, and did this for a long time now. She runs her own animation company. But I'll tell you, for all their flaws, and they have many flaws, the mouse has done a really great job of creating fantasy, creating animation, and developing some incredible talent in terms of the people that work for them.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they always have cutting edge stuff. Kurstin, you should do the Disney Channel, the bum, bum, bum with the wand.
Out of my brain cell
Okay,
right
come on,
now.
I want to see it.
I was literally just about to do that.
Okay, come on, let's see it.
My name is Kurstin, and you're watching Disney Channel. Bam, 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 bam. That was bad. I already know that was bad. But going back to the wave, when you were like, oh, the royal wave, it's giving very much thank you for being here today, from Princess Diaries. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, the practicing.
Well, we'll binge it. We'll binge it later.
Yeah. Queen Julie Andrews, come on.
After I'm done with Battlestar Galactica. I'm just a few episodes in. I loved it the first time I watched it. I think it's absolutely.
So we have an influx of comments. I'd like to
I
go
bet we
through
do.
them.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll start with Facebook. 5 minutes ago, Ash Corsi typed howdy, which is perfect for Kurstin. See, you saw that reaction.
I missed that. What?
Howdy. It's like
howdy.
It's the international greeting
howdy
for all Texas A&M Aggies.
Well, I lived in Dallas for almost 10 years, so
I'm sorry.
I can do a proper y'all. Actually, I also lived in Austin for a little while, and for a little while in San Angelo. But you were saying?
Nothing.
All right.
I was saying howdy.
Okay. Now, moving on to LinkedIn, Amir commented again and said, looking forward to your new programming courses.
Oh, thank you.
And then he also typed, I love Disney, wish I could work there. Yeah, a lot of people do until they do.
Well, and a lot of people love it even after they've been working there. And a lot of people spend their whole lives working.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them are diehard loyalists. My aunt worked there until the day she died.
Again, with the judgment, for a lot of people, it just makes them happy. And you know
what? I know that's true.
I'm for whatever floats your boat.
My aunt worked there until maybe like up until the month before she died, but she loved it there.
So who recognizes my hat? We'll see. Let us know in the comments. Also, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if I'm being honest, if I already didn't know what it was, it looks like a game controller.
It does a little.
Xbox.
Okay. I don't
know what it is?
I mean, I do.
Okay.
But it's because you told me. So I don't think that counts.
All right.
Back to
I know what it is, but it's because I just picked up one of the vinyl records of this artist at a thrift store. I have the logo on it.
I have a full set of his entire catalog on vinyl up until just after he died, and they've released like 50 more albums since then. His archives are so rich. They could release 2 albums a year for the next 100 years and not run out of material.
Real quick, we have another like 10 comments to get through. So
Great. Ricky, if I can ask you to accommodate my hearing by speaking a little slower as you read them.
Of course. Saad Asmail, might have mispronounced that, says hi.
Hi. Howdy. Y'all.
Amir responded to something that you must have said earlier. He said, yes, true.
Whatever it is, I'm sure that you're right.
And then he said, Mickey.
Mickey.
Yes.
The mouse.
Yes. And then he said, Sir did something wild in the 60s.
Yeah, I was I found myself on the wrong side of the law a couple of times in my misspent youth. But yeah, we did. We took over Tom Sawyer Island and we raised a Vietnamese flag over it, and some of us got caught.
He says, wow.
We actually ended up in Disney jail, which is not the same as regular jail. They have their own, I mean, just so this is what brought this up in the first place. In Orange County, California, which is not to be confused with Orange County, Florida, which are both home to Disney parks. In Disney Anaheim, it's actually its own little self-contained city. They have their own police department, they have their own fire department, and yes, they have their own jail. and we ended up just being strongly admonished and being banned from the park for life, but that doesn't seem to have kept them from taking my money and allowing me back in, because I've been back many times since then. And even like just a couple of years later, my band played there. In the they had this, I don't know if it's still there in Tomorrowland. They had this stage that would come up from underground and play a set and then go back down into the ground, and it was a lot of fun. And this was, I don't know, mid-70s or so. But yeah, and the thing in Florida that brought all of this up, at least in our little conversation here, and we haven't talked about it yet on the air here, is that the little self-contained city that encompasses, in this case, all of the Disney properties, including Epcot and Disney World and all of that, they're all in this little self-contained city, and I forget what it's called, and I would need to look it up, but it's probably not relevant to this conversation. This was its own municipality that was for over 50 years successfully run by basically Disney executives, and again, their own water, power, police, fire, all of that. And it includes all their hotels and everything, and it worked great. And the city of Orlando loved it because they attract a lot of business. State of Florida loved it. It worked well. But somebody at Disney pissed off Ron DeSantis. This was about the so-called "Don't Say Gay" bill, which I'm sure it's not actually called that, but the effect was that nobody in government or who does business with the government was allowed to acknowledge that gay people exist. And obviously Disney didn't like this because they've always been very inclusive, and that serves their brand and it serves their constituency. And this gets back to my theory of how to run a good business, which we're going to talk about in one of my upcoming podcasts. But effectively what it means is that you have to serve what I call the four publics. They're the four constituencies of any business, which is the customer, the employees, the vendors, and the stakeholders. And you need to keep all four of those different groups of people happy in order for your business to be successful. And so in the case of Disney, their business being global and not just local to alt-right QAnon land, they need to provide well for all of their employees and all of their customers who are gay or not gay. And so obviously they couldn't go along with this Don't Gay Say Gay bill, and as a result, the state of Florida, under the leadership and direction of, literally Ron DeSantis called their assembly back into session when they were out of session, just to get this passed and just to get this done, to take back the autonomous area of Disneyland and put it under the control of his own cronies, of a board of directors that he handpicked, which is made up of, these culture warrior conservative types. And so, this is not going to go well for Disney, and ultimately it'll end up costing Florida and Orange County and Orlando just a whole lot of money and a whole lot of business, just because their dear leader had a temper tantrum.
And scene.
And scene. Yeah. So, but that's what brought up this whole Disney thing. And we were talking about it before we went live, because, I think all of us in our own way are a bit of a Disney fan. I grew up watching Mickey Mouse and, Fantasia and I've always enjoyed their work. I've always loved Disneyland. I grew up in Southern California. My family didn't go 5 times a year, but we went at least once a year and sometimes more. And most of those times I did not commit crimes. And to this day, we take the kids every once in a while, even though we live in Nevada now. We don't live in Southern California anymore. And my wife loves it. One of my favorite pictures of her is actually a couple of them that we took just before the pandemic hit. And I was already following it on the news, and I was already planning to lock down the family when we got back. But in early February of 2020, Rose and I took a little anniversary trip out to Disneyland, and we got some great pictures and had, just the two grown-ups at Disneyland, and we just had a great old time. They have great food there. They have, some of the rides are definitely not kiddie rides, and they got all the Star Wars stuff now. So yeah, we love Disney, and I'll be watching to see what happens to Disney in Florida. How are we doing, Ricky?
Got a lot of more comments. I'm sorry, I can't speak.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Gary Chaik, please let me know if I pronounced that right, has left Kurstin a comment.
Ooh. Here you go.
Swing the mic over.
You got to.
He says, Kurstin's facial expressions are always priceless. Very animated.
I have been told that my entire life. And so I feel like maybe I should come up with new ones, like how Jim Carrey and like his facial expression, like how he's got.
You're gonna start doing stand-up? I
don't know. Or like make my eyebrows do the wave, or like be able to wiggle my ears. So I'm definitely working on it. On expanding my facial expression horizon.
You realize that an animated kitty cat just told you that you're animated.
It do be like that. Oh, we got the tongue. We got the tongue out.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That is a step in the right direction.
How's that for animation?
Still no arms, but we'll take it.
Looking on it.
You can improvise. Then we have another comment from Amir, and he says, I have one question regarding data analytics. Why Why do companies look for analysts but don't hire as we are fresher?
Don't hire what?
But don't hire as we are fresher.
As we are pressure?
Fresher. I'm not sure what that's referring to.
Yeah, okay. So that may be a language disconnect. I don't know. I've been out of the hiring business for a long time. I did consulting for many, many years, and I saw how the hiring process goes. And it's mostly, if I can say this on the air, it's mostly bullshit. The role of a data analyst is a little bit fuzzy. It's different in different companies, and it means different things. Usually you need to have SQL skills, you need to have data skills, and other than that, it could be a lot of different things. And I can't really say anything about the hiring practices of Disney or any of the other large corporations, except to say that if I were a data analyst and if I were looking for a gig, I would make a short list of the companies that I'm interested in, and I would do as much research as possible on those specific companies and their specific data analysis requirements. And I would go in with a resume and a cover letter that is designed to address their specific needs, and let them know that I understand this company's needs like nobody else you're going to find. And honestly, I would, if I were looking for a gig in any field, that would be my approach, to do everything I can to put myself at the top of the, take ownership, take responsibility for putting myself at the top of the pile. And with that, I wish you all the best, and let me know how it goes.
Nice. We have a comment from Gary Chike, but the last comment from Gary Chike was on LinkedIn. He also commented on our YouTube stream.
Well, how about that?
And he
Sure to
said,
like and subscribe.
smash that subscribe button.
Yeah. Go ahead, your comment.
Okay, he said, in regards to the classes that you'll be putting out soon, he says, don't forget Pearl or Raku, Billy Bear.
So thank you. I definitely want to do more Pearl content. I love Pearl. I'm just, it's hard for it to get to the top of the pile because it's not as popular as it was, say, 10 years ago when it was the king of scripting languages. And in my view, I mean, Perl and Python have two fundamentally opposing philosophies. In Perl, they say there's more than one way to do it. And it's true. You can write the same line of code. You can put, the objects and the verbs in different orders, and it all works and allows you to be more expressive. In Python, there's only one way to do it, and everything has to be specifically exact. And this makes it easier to learn the language, makes it easier to read the language, but it's not as expressive. And so, yeah, I intend to do content on both of those subjects. The Python will certainly come sooner.
And what was the other one? Raku?
Oh, Raku? Spell it.
R-A-K-U.
I am, you stumped me. I don't know that one. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought he said Perl and Python.
No,
But,
he said Pearl and Raku.
Raku. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that
I
is.
know the Raku streaming service.
That's
Oh, it
Roku,
was Roku.
Oh, that's Roku. Okay, yeah.
which, would not be something that I would be doing a course on. I mean, I guess I could take screen caps. You push this button, you push that button. Here's how you sign. But I think mostly people can figure that shit out.
Yeah, fair.
And so nobody's identified my hat yet.
Not yet.
All right. So I do want to say this about our YouTube channel. Because of the changes going on at LinkedIn, And the fact that it's, you know, what for 20 years had made me very happy, you know, between lynda.com and the early, you know, early after our transition to LinkedIn. It's become impossible for me to really earn my living on that one channel anymore. And so I'm producing a lot of content for YouTube. But in order for that to work, two things need to happen. We need patrons on our Patreon. And so far, you know, that's not gone very well. And we need to increase our audience on YouTube enough so that we're allowed to do monetization. And this is, you know, I love producing the content, and if I didn't need to earn a living, I would keep doing this, you know, and not worry about it. But I do need to earn a living, and this is what I do. And so, and I also have to pay these kids. So what would help me out a lot is you subscribe and you like the videos, and most importantly, that you view the videos. We need to have a certain number of viewership hours in order to cross a threshold to be able to start our monetization. And once we get there, you know, presumably we'll have so many subscribers and followers that, you know, this thing will take on some momentum on its own. But y'all that have been following me for a lot of years and who've been taking my courses on LinkedIn and before that on lynda.com, you could really help me out by going over to our YouTube channel and subscribing, and just, you know, watch a few minutes of the videos. I think you'll find that the content there is really engaging and valuable. Right now, it's mostly C++ content. And then we also have these videos, which are just a lot of fun. Oh, and I have my new short film called Penguin, which is absolutely hilarious.
That's a good
It stars me and RiKitty without her cat avatar.
without my cat avatar. So speaking of YouTube, Gary is about to educate you. You're going to be shown.
Excellent. I always appreciate a good education.
Okay. He says that Pearl 6 has been renamed to Raku.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. I had heard that, and I knew that, and I had simply forgotten because it's not on my damn radar.
So can you
Pearl
explain?
6, you know, I don't know that
First,
I don't know that Pearl 6 is I can ask you, is Pearl 6 actually getting traction? You know, or Raku, is it actually getting traction? I know that when it was Pearl 6, it never got any traction, and that's why they renamed it. But and is it, so as I understand it, it's no longer backwards compatible with Pearl 5. And again, you know, I haven't followed it. The people that I know, and I do know a number of people who are working in Perl, you know, working at big companies doing big things in Perl, but they're all still using Perl 5, and this Raku or Perl 6 or whatever you call it is not actually, that I know of, is not really getting any traction. Am I wrong? Please educate me if I'm wrong.
so he says, and I would like you to expand on this. He says it's a fork, essentially. Pearl 5 is jumping the Pearl 6 name straight to Pearl 7.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I heard that. And I apparently didn't pay much attention because, you know, in order to get my attention, these things have to really get some traction, and there has to be more than a handful of people, you know, who are interested in it.
So Amir has commented again and said, I'm looking forward to doing my master's in the United States or Canada. Just want to know the best college in your view in California or Chicago. And before you address that, I just want to let Amir know that I went to college in California, so I'm biased, and I'm going to say choose a UC or a Cal State to get your master's in California over Chicago. Just, I mean, for the environment alone. And then he says that he will subscribe on our YouTube. So thank you, Amir.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I mean, in terms of weather, you can't beat Southern California. You know, if I was looking for the most beautiful place to go to college, I would probably pick, oh, what is it? It's the one in the redwoods.
Santa Cruz?
Santa Cruz, yeah. UC Santa Cruz is probably the most beautiful college campus that I have ever seen in my entire life. And I've seen a lot of them. I used to go around and speak at
Did
them.
you ever go into the caves at UC Santa Cruz?
Yes, I have.
Did you
And
spiders?
I was very young and I don't actually recall. But I do remember that they had a rule that they could not build any buildings where they were visible from the other buildings. In other words, they had to leave enough room so that the trees would obscure the view from one building to another.
That
So
explains a
people
lot.
ride bicycles around, from building to building. And, again, this is, oh my God, this is probably, 30, 40 years ago, the last time I was there, but absolutely the most beautiful campus. Not knowing what you're, are you looking for a graduate degree in data analytics? If you, honestly, if you're looking for, the top schools in software engineering, I don't think you could do better than Stanford. As far as the quality of the graduates that I've seen come out of there. My recommendation is always to actually look for alternatives to institutional education. The institutional education is there for different purposes. And again, this is one of our upcoming podcasts on what education, really means, and how our educational institutions are failing us and failing the fundamental job of educating. It used to be that these institutions were all about the education, and now they're run as businesses. They didn't used to be run as businesses. They used to be more or less nonprofit NGOs, and now they're businesses, and they're very much interested in attracting as much money as they can, and they're juggling this whole for publics thing where a nonprofit has the luxury of being able to serve one public, which would be their customers, their reason for existing. And it used to be that way when I was a kid, and it is no longer like that. So I don't even know. My recommendation, if what it is that you want to actually learn,
Data scientist.
data scientist, yeah, that's judging by your previous comments. Stanford is a great option if you're determined or have other reasons for needing to get an actual degree. That would be my first choice in any of the data sciences. But I know you can get a better education outside of the university system. If it's really about just learning, and yeah, that's where I'm coming from. We're going to do a whole podcast on this subject. We'll record it sometime in the next few days, and God knows when it'll be out. These things, they seem to take a while to get through production.
Well, we're coming up on 40 minutes.
Well,
How time flies when you're having fun.
we always seem to figure out a way to just have fun at these things. And, I'm really grateful to you too. And it's wonderful to have Kurstin here in person. And yeah, if there aren't any more comments, I guess we'll just wrap this up. Thank you
Part
again.
two, Gary readdressing Pearl says that they have become syntactically different, Pearl 5 and
That's what I've heard.
and then Amir says thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome, Amir. Please, again, let me know how it goes, and let me know where you end up. I'll be really interested to hear that. Thank you to my team here, and to all of you out there in internet land. Thank you so much. Please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe, and watch the video again or something. Give us some viewing minutes. We need those viewing minutes. And if it's all within your means, please head on over to our Patreon and sign up for one of the plans over there.
And
Agreed.
one more comment just came in before we go from Darshan G, who says, thank you. Hang on, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to wave with you guys.
Yay!
All right. That's Ricky is coming over here. Oh, here she comes. Here she comes. So we are all actually in the same building today. We're not always in the same building. We're not even always in the same city. But there's Ricky. Oh, we got the dabs going on here, right? Yeah.
We said
Thank you all done. We love you. Thank you. We'll see you again soon.